Salute to everybody that's going to be joining me today. Make sure you guys hit the like button when you come through. What I want to talk about, particularly because I see a lot of information on the internet, all these studies, all these historical contexts, all these different perspectives, argued from so many different intellectuals that we see. People talk about trauma. People talk about the effects of racism. People talk about so many different things, all of these intellectuals. But the elephant in the room seems to be a common theme with humanity, with people in general, is that when you take away a person's incentive to produce on their own, to be productive, and you replace the family structure with government, and you remove that which has worked for thousands of years, and you replace it with this new artificial, socially constructed version of what society should be, and it goes counter to nature, you end up with destruction and debauchery. And somehow, when we end up with these conversations about the Black community, it always ends back to racism and trauma, which those are factors. Those are huge factors. But I think, and racism has always been here in America. There's been some level of systemic racism. There's been all kinds of things that have happened in the Black community. But I think even though through those difficult times, one factor was in place. Black people maintain their conservative values. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not on any of these political plantations. I don't exist on any of these political plantations. What I see is truth and reality. And we can make an argument that systematically certain individuals have been programmed to self-destruct. But there also has to be a point in time where people have to take accountability for their own actions and behaviors and show that they have agency over their life. I'll give you an example. Everybody assumes that you look at certain environments and you think that it was always this way, or how people don't care about their community or don't care about the destructions that they do to their own community. And they try to give you this idea of, everything that happens is because of racism. But there's also an aspect of culture that we must consider, and dysfunctional culture, and how culture has been manipulated by certain decisions that people made that ultimately destroyed the family and destroyed masculine patriarchal leadership in the exchange for goods or handouts, or taking on a certain ideology that is just more destructive to community than actual racism itself. It is something that does not talk about, because there's no profit in you not being a victim. We go to cause and effect. We talk about actions and reaction. We look at the scientific term. There is no profit. You think a race hustler or somebody who's, a politician or anything else like that, they don't get elected unless they offer certain things or try to make certain, concessions, or try to keep people in a certain place. But what's absent from all of this is the truth. I give you an example. Let's watch this video. It came across my feed on Facebook. Let's play it. Let's see what they're talking about.
But she makes a very interesting distinction between Alabama and the South, where she was from, and Chicago, where she ultimately landed.
Hold on 1 second. Let me get the full clip for you guys so you understand it. Make sure I take it back. And so this brother, I'm gonna put this link in the chat. We want to talk about the values that came about from the South. For many people before this culture was kidnapped and hijacked.
But she makes a very interesting distinction between Alabama and the South, where she was from, in Chicago, where she ultimately landed, that I think really amplifies the fact that it has more to do with culture than income. She says here, in Alabama, the poor blacks used to wash down every inch of their unpaved wooden shacks with octagon laundry soap. They swept under their porches, even if they didn't have store-bought brooms. They cut down branches from trees and tied them together with rags or string to make brush brooms. People in Alabama would shake their heads with disgust if they saw a dirty mop hanging out to dry on someone's porch railing, or graying sheets dangling from a clothesline. My mother used to say, you can just look outside a person's house and tell what he is. The one thing everyone had in Alabama was pride. That pride was a consistent part of a Southern upbringing. The poor children came to school with neatly sewn patches on their clothes. Their clothes may have been old, but they were clean. If your children were dirty, you didn't belong anywhere in the social order of the town. If you had a dirty water bucket, you were a disgrace. And if you drank from a dipper instead of a glass, you were considered a heathen. If you didn't mow your lawn or clip your hedges, you were ostracized. When your neighbor next door saw you mowing your lawn, he would mow his. Neighborhoods like Garfield Park are made up mostly of people from the South, like myself. I do not understand why my Southern pride stuck while theirs didn't. They have been led to believe that someone else is going to do things for them. Too many Black people have fallen into the pattern of listening to the self-proclaimed leaders who find it in their own best interest to make people feel there are free rides in this world. So while Killer Mike might be well-intended in his saying that, look, if we pass more programs, if we pass more policies, this will, in a sense, help uplift those who are in poverty. The fact is, to Margaret Collins's point, there is no policy or program that can instill the values that people actually need in order to have thriving and safe communities. So no, poverty does not equal crime. Bad culture equals crime. And we have to be unapologetic and unafraid to admit that point, because that's the only way that we can turn this thing around. Personally, my hope is that men will come to know Christ, that they will repent of their sins, and that they will begin to take responsibility and accountability for themselves. That's the only solution in all of this.
Okay. Now, salute to the brother for the commentary. Now, again, we talk about culture. And we talk about the values and people having shared values. That's which is most important in any society. What type of values or culture that you live in? They assume that Black people, because many of them were poor back in the day, lived in a state of degeneracy. Those people had values and culture, and they had respect and they had pride. And I tell you, this new mindset and liberal ideology that people have taken under, or these lies that are being told by these individuals, is all a fallacy. And we talk about the declining, marriage rates or crime or whatever else. These are things. We have systematic things in effect, but there's also decisions that are being made. And I give you an example because I came across another video on my feed I wanted to address, and I see these things, and it's fascinating to me. Where we at? Right here. And you see the salute to my brother Black Guru. I'm gonna share this video for you guys. What I want to talk about before we get into this content, one factor is always in play here. When you watch these situations, you ask yourself the question, where is the man? Where is the man? Who are you choosing to breed with? Where is the man? That's the number one question. And why have there been choices to mate with certain men? Where's the men And why don't they have influence over who you're mating with? You see, if men, respectable, honorable men, had control or influence over who you're mating with, this debauchery would not happen. Because if you had a real community and real culture, it would be very difficult in a community that respects manhood and masculinity for a derelict or degenerate to come mate with somebody's daughter, an unworthy man, because there would be consequences to that. Because men hold other men accountable. If you had real patriarchal leadership, if you had real patriarchal leadership and you haven't replaced your men with the government, this type of debauchery would not be able to take place. I'm a man, I'm a father, I'm a leader of my family. I hold my boys accountable. And I would hope that men would hold their daughters accountable. But the truth of the matter is, in that particular community, the men are not in control. In fact, we have an epidemic of simps and son husbands. And the women are in control. They partnered with liberals in the government to basically take the legs out from under their own men. So them, black women and liberals, double team black men and took away all power from them. That's what happened. They double teamed black men in that community, liberals, the government, triple team, and black women, and took their legs out. And it's crazy to think of how many attacks on black men that have happened, that they actually can stand up straight and really walk around with straight and dignity in 2025. Consider how many vicious attacks that have happened to them and tried to destroy them, most from within their own community. You know, their own women have been programmed to destroy black men. The women in the black community, many of them have been programmed to destroy their own men. They have used the system against them. And they've used the system to destroy their own families. Or they were used by the system to destroy their own families. Salute to you, Red Falls Black, you know. But they don't want to hear this truth because it's easier to blame white folks and racism or to talk about trauma. But now in 2025, when you see all the rollbacks of all these government programs and the cuts to these programs, see, they want us to take the victim pathway and they want me to talk about like those pro-blacks or those individuals who don't like to tell the truth about what happened and why we're in a state why, not me, but why so many individuals in the community are in the state that they're in. And it has to do a lot with choices. Some of it's programmed, most of it's not. It's not about trauma. It's not about all that shit. It's about, for many situations, like you see the situations with the contract with America with Ice Cube. In the contract with America, what did the women say? What is in it for black women? And Ice Cube asked the question, aren't black women black people? And then you knew right then, a lot of this stuff was a movement for power within the community. It was an opportunity to take over. And they used it. They used the government. They used all of these things. They used racism. They used the government. They used all of these things to take over the community. Because they fell into the ideology too. They didn't want to be led by men. They went into the feminist indoctrination camp. And they made a move for power. It is what it is. What's up, red pill sign? So, I mean, these things are not going to be corrected anytime soon in my lifetime, but at least let's tell the truth about it. So let's go into Black Girl's content. And this is strange. Now we see all these alligator tears in 2025. I don't see a whole bunch of men online crying about their financial situations. This is what I see all the time. Salute to Black Girl, man.
The proposed 2-year time limit for the Section 8 housing program, and now President Donald Trump looking to get rid of the homeless problem starting in the nation's capital, it is looking like a very bad problem for a lot of people. What you are about to see is only going to get worse.
Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly.
If you're homeless in D.C., you need to be paying attention. Trump says he's going to start breaking up the encampments and taking these people to outside of the Capitol. He's going to start concentrating them into government-made camps. And we all know how well that turns out historically. And they always start with immigrants and homeless people, and they always call them criminals. And poverty is the number one cause of.
See, let me explain something with you. Hey, salute to you, man. I appreciate your support, man. Disrespecting himself. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I tell you what you see with a dude like this, right? And tell me, I used to work in the city, the inner city areas, okay? You will see the little kids, the little black kids walking to school in these neighborhoods. And you'll see a guy like this, high on his heroin, high on his drugs, high on them pills, or smoking that K2 shit when they can't afford heroin, laid out like this on the ground. On that heroin, little black kids walking in the neighborhood, and they're looking at junkies laid on the ground. They're looking at people passed out. They're looking at zombies. Because what they don't tell you is this. All of these communities around, once they do their fair share rule, they have to demonstrate that they do a fair share of funding for this drug-addicted homeless population. So what they will do is put these drug clinics in black communities, and the outside communities will send all of their undesirables or individuals that are hooked on drugs into the black community. So imagine this, okay? They send all of their people from these towns and these rural areas into the black community to get drug. They put these drug treatment. Imagine a drug treatment center, a person is trying to kick the habit of heroin. And right on that same block where that drug treatment center is people selling heroin. And right on that same block, you have little kids walking by to go to school, and you have people laid out on the ground like Kensington. And how the hell is that progress? They've just dumped all these people in your community. But black people are so much on this woke, poverty, save everybody mentality, they don't realize the setup. Now that those people are in your community, draining the services and all of the social services that are designed to help the people in their community, the same way they did with the immigrants. Send them all to the brown people community, which the liberals did, suck all the funding out. See, this is the crazy part about being all liberal, progressive, and woke, is you don't even know when you're getting set up. Because all the people that are the talking heads, Roland Martin and Charlemagne the God and all those people, they're not living with these people. They're living in rich neighborhoods. They're going on vacation to Bora Bora. You think Roland Martin, multi-millionaires and shit, you think they dealing with all this homeless stuff? They're not dealing with this homeless stuff. So while the little black kids are walking to school, seeing junkies laid out on the ground, all these people, these liberals and Obama living in Martha's Vineyard, they're not experiencing that shit. It's only the hardworking poor black people that are experiencing the torture that comes with all these social programs. you know. And even when I work, nothing that I was so anti against them putting these drug clinics in the Black community, because all they do is send people from the outside and add more people, unproductive people that linger around in those communities to buy drugs. And now they become, imagine what that does psychologically to a little Black kid walking to school every day seeing addicts laid out. And they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk. You don't hear Umar and them talking about that because they don't care. Because this victimhood and all this garbage makes them money. And they're not going to give up that money. People that want you to be self-empowered tell you the truth. They don't want to tell you the truth. Why? Because your victimhood is profitable for them. It gets them votes. It gets them money. They can create these, all these, ways to get these 501c3s to get organizations. Then they take the money and spend it for themselves, and they use the money to do whatever the hell they want to do, because there's no profit in your empowerment. If you empower yourself and your family's empowered, how will race hustlers and politicians really make that much money? They'll have to actually pass policy that actually benefits community. But as long as we're playing this game, you can never, ever, ever, ever grow out of it. So it's all a setup. But look at this guy. This is the same type of dude that be laid out on the ground when the little Black kids are walking by him. He ain't no victim. Most of these people are not victims. The only people I really feel sorry for is the mentally ill. Yeah. Exactly, because there's people that are legitimately mentally ill that they need help. I have compassion for them. Then there's people that just don't want to do nothing. They want to live this. They've stolen from grandma. They've robbed auntie. Auntie tried to help them. They stole from her. They disrespected her. Many of these people have disrespected their way onto the streets. They've stolen from people. They've abused help. They've abused social programs. Many of them. Then there's the legitimate people. It's really hard to keep the legitimate people down for long, because those people will fight their way out of homelessness. Then there are those who want to live this lifestyle where they don't have any responsibility. Nobody wants to go. No human being wants to be at work all the time. When we do what we have to do to survive. But this is why you got to okay, homeless. This is a broad topic. Let's examine what's going on. Are you a drug addict? Are you mentally ill? Are you a person that just don't want to conform to society, don't want to do anything for society? You say, yeah, exactly. So there's all different levels. It's not just, homeless. What is that? Well, in a homeless encampment, there's many different many things going on in there. And I think the compassion I have is for those that are mentally ill. Those that are mentally ill. That's the compassion I have. Because what they did with the mental hospitals starting in the 60s and the 70s, where they started shutting down these mental hospitals, because obviously there was some things going wrong back then, but instead of fixing what's going wrong, they completely closed them down. Again, more liberalism. It should have been fixed. The doctors were doing some crazy things back then in those hospitals. So I understand why they did what they did. But you need those mental hospitals because some people are just straight up, they need the help. But there's people that abuse the system. And they're out there just on drugs, laid out, defecating, urinating, creating problems and havoc out there. People can't even go to work and enjoy their life. You might be walking to work down the sidewalk and step in a pile of, what? Or imagine the little kids walking to school and there's a grown man taking a piss right next to a bus shelter or something. So these are the type of, it is the Black kids and the minority kids that are watching all this debauchery and garbage and trash in their community, and they can't go to the park. The kids can't play safely. Got to worry about getting robbed, the dangers of those communities. So a guy like this, man, come on, man. That fake victim, he's going to arrest all of us and all they start violating our rights. But what about the fact that they violate people's rights every day? Every day, hardworking, law-abiding citizens are having their rights violated every day by people that don't want to obey the law, people that want to be derelicts in the community. You know, they have people in these communities that are literally imprisoning people that are trying to make a living or trying to survive. So because somebody is the working poor, and they're in the communities, why should they suffer the wrath of people that don't want to get off drugs, people that have mental, but not the mental people I have compassion for. But they have derelicts coming from out of town to these drug clinics and treatment center, and they're creating even more dysfunction in these communities. And that's what's not being talked about. So a guy like this is just looking for a safe place not to do what he needs to be doing with his life. And you can find that in many of the communities. He said they're right. He's right. They're about to get violated for real. Final Solution style, man. Yeah, I wanted these fools for years. Like it's crazy, man. Like, let me continue on. Let me let this play. Salute the Black Guru.
Crime, but they don't want to do anything about poverty. They'd rather spend hundreds of billions of dollars on police and ICE to round up innocent people and throw them into camps.
Oh, they got the DA.
My question to him would be that, what are you going to do about your own poverty? What are you going to do about your own poverty? You look like an able-bodied man. What are you going to do about your poverty, brother? Now, if we talk about the government, what are you going to do? What skill do you have that you can bring to market? Don't tell me about what government should be doing. What are you going to do about it?
Look at this, folks.
HSI. U.S. Marshals.
They got the National Guard. They got DEA, the FBI, Park Police, Capitol Police, DC Police, all working together. Trump got these niggas on a mission. So what I'm saying to y'all is now ain't the time in my city, in DC, to be riding around with guns and drinking and smoking. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like this because the youngest keep tipping, bro. We can't go nowhere without them. We can't go nowhere without them doing fucking it up. 9 or 10 of them, they robbing, shooting, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's get tired of that shit, man.
My question so far is this really to get rid of the homeless problem or another problem in the you-know-what community?
This is me living a dream, raising 6 kids in a hotel. I see some of y'all in the comments keep asking me why I keep having kids. Same reason why your mama had you and then nobody questioned her ass. I'm doing my best and that's what matter. And I'm recording this shit, documenting this shit so y'all can see me win. I want my supporters right here with me and I'm not a fake bitch. So I am definitely recording my struggles and ain't shit wrong with that. My kids are the best part of me. They keep me going. I owe it to them and myself and my motherfucking haters to be consistent on this and not let up. Then this shit happen.
No. Okay, why is that? I mean, yeah, that's too many guests for in one room, you know.
Even though I reserved my room, he said I couldn't stay because I got too many kids. The fuck type of shit is that?
At least she is trying, but goodness, you're homeless and you keep having more kids? I lost my 4-bed, 3-bath house this year, and now me and my 5 kids are back in a 1-bedroom apartment. I'm broke. And I put in 10 job applications and not one has called me back yet. My kids start school in 2 days and I still haven't gotten them any school clothes or school supplies.
Everybody keeps asking me how I got into Section 8. It takes a really long time to wait for like wait lists to get open. I know in my county, like the wait list just opens randomly and you kind of just have to keep an eye out for it on the website. Like just kind of keep looking up like Section 8 wait lists open towards like near me or calling your county and asking them if anything gets open. I know for me, I think it was like February 2024, I applied and I was with my son's father at the time, my also abuser. And I applied and I put just me and my son on there at the time because I was already kind of planning to leave. By September 2024, my son's dad went to jail. And so I put a domestic violence case on top of my housing.
I want to know what a woman like her is going to do after 2 years on the program. I mean, I can already tell maybe what she's doing now.
Or okay, y'all want to ask? Y'all, it is a valid question. Where is dad? Dad just had a newborn. He knows that his kids need help. He knows the situation they're in. He chooses not to text me back. He chooses to ignore me. And how many attempts am I supposed to make to his job, to his house, before y'all start calling me a bitter baby mama like he did? This generation
Wait a minute, he just had a newborn with you or with another woman?
and the ones previous, they have it bad. When they want to deal with the mother no more, they don't deal with the kids. Y'all would know your mama and daddy going through it. You went through it. It's just sad how many times y'all are chewing me out because I got on here and I asked for y'all to point me in the direction of a apartment complex that will rent to low.
You see, this is the problem right there. You see, where's dad and where's the men? Where's the men? Where's dad? You see, they did this to their own community. This was done to their own community. Obviously, you can make an argument that many of the welfare programs that came with the Great Society, they were designed within itself to destroy, which is that you cannot have a man in the household and receive these benefits. But even with that, you didn't have to take part in sexual liberation, which is feminism, and you didn't have to take those programs. Those were still an option for the women that made those decisions. But partnering with government became more of an attractive option because it gives them power and freedom. And especially with the advent of the invention of the birth control pill, it gave them freedom. You take up with that feminism that came from white liberal women. Once again, you're letting the liberals in. Once you start letting them in with their sexual liberation and all that anti-man nonsense, he said Farrakhan even warned them for damn that 20 years, this coming if they don't change. Farrakhan warned them. Malcolm X warned them that once they got in bed with these progressive liberal people, you decenter men, and you get in bed with these people. This is where all the debauchery comes from. They can make an argument with trauma all they want, but once you got in bed with these progressive ideologies, and Malcolm X was talking about it. Malcolm X, Farrakhan, you can name all of these people because most Black people in America, even prior to the 60s, had more of a conservative, prideful mentality despite racism. But it wasn't until that community just started getting in bed with the Great Society that the community was just, people talk about the crack epidemic and all those things. Those are all factors. But that didn't come about until after people have just destroyed their own family with government programs. It's crazy. But once you get in bed with them liberals, you're done. You're going to be having all kinds of weird shit going on in your community. You know what I mean? Like you have, let's continue on. Yeah, they don't have any pride. You see what I'm saying? Because again, there's no men around. There's no men. Remove that from the crowd. There's no men around. That's why they can talk like this. They don't respect man, because what shame is coming to their house? Like if I have two boys, if my boys was on the internet embarrassing me, they would get a call from me because you bring shame to my house. Because they don't have patriarchal leadership, there's no accountability. And that's another thing for you young Black men. Be wary of these young ladies that, not all of them, because some of them have some good mothers, but they don't have good patriarchal leadership as father. He has to be a man that the woman in that house respects. and falls under his leadership. He's the head of her, not just the head of the household. You pick a girl who raised with this feminist ideology, this man-hating crap, you're going to end up with problems in your house most of the time, especially if she's been ran through and been enjoying sexual liberation. Always look at dad. Look at dad. Look at the relationship between dad and mom. Those are factors in choosing a woman to be whatever relationship you're going to, future wife or whatever. If you're going to be choosing women, make sure she's the type of woman that was raised in some type of patriarchal structure. And is what it is. You know, you don't want no liberally indoctrinated woman in the house. Shit, she's going to have problems. You're going to have problems like crazy. Anyhow, let's continue on.
Let me tell all of y'all that's so happy that they taking away Section 8, and everybody in the world that's so happy that they taking away food stamps. Crime rate going up. Yeah, people going to jail, but crime rate is going to an all-time high. I'm telling you. The girls I know and where I'm from and the people that I grew up with, they not letting their kids be hungry up under no circumstances. That emergency door at the grocery store, they coming out of it. They coming out the back door. Do you hear me? You better hope Unc don't drill a hole in the wall overnight.
Y'all gonna start robbing the grocery store?
People, they not being hungry. Your cows might get missing and everything. These people don't understand being hungry.
You gonna steal a cow?
Not like that. Not the people I know. I'm telling you. They're going to take your shit. I'm telling you. Yeah. Yes, they're going to take it. I promise you, they're going to take y'all shit. So don't be all clappy for that shit. Because crime rate is going up and it's going to make y'all life motherfucking miserable.
Well, you heard her. She said that crime rate is going to go up when they take away more of the housing and more of the food stamps. Better make sure you lock your door, but you might also have to put a lock on your refrigerator.
This be the look on my face every time I pull up to this trifling ass neighborhood. All the parents outside, standing around outside in their pajamas. You know what I'm saying? Don't give a fuck. That's why the kids don't give a fuck. I feel like Uncle Ruckus. Like, y'all just.
Listen, I can't even move my motherfucking car. I need a mechanic in the Bloomington normal area that will diagnose my car for free. I did go get an oil change, and Walmart told me it was a leak in between the engine and the transmission, but y'all know how these dealerships be. They got to do their own diagnosis and everything like that, and I just ain't got the bread for all that. So if anybody knows somebody who can fix the leak or diagnose where it's coming from, I need help.
Second of all, people are telling you that is a rear main seal leak and it's going to be like $2,000. What the hell are you doing with your car?
I got 6 kids. I don't work. I don't take accountability. And I want everybody else to take responsibility of my kids. That's what y'all think, right? My name is Indaria. I'm a 29-year-old mama 6, currently living in a hotel. Our spot got condemned by the city, meaning nobody can't stay there. It was condemned because of unsafe living conditions in the home. I ain't worried about none of that shit y'all saying. But anyways, you can't keep a real bitch down for too long. I ain't gonna never be the bitch that just lay down and stay there. I ain't ashamed of nothing I go through. And if you're going through something, don't be ashamed either. These folks, they're gonna talk about you whether you're doing good or bad. Everybody that had a bath, and my oldest two, they got football practice, so I had to go ahead and get this homework.
Here's what I'm not understanding so far. How are that these women looking like they're doing all of this stuff, taking care of their kids, helping out with homework, making sure they have good hygiene, but yet after all that, there's not one man around that can help you with your bills, with your children, nothing? Y'all know how to do all the stuff to take care of kids, but y'all don't know how to choose a good man?
I don't even know what's about to happen next, but I'm already thanking God for what he's about to do. I could feel his hands around me, and I could feel him telling me just to my course stay true.
Here's something else I noticed when I was going through all of this content. A lot of these people are starting to turn to God when they have no one else to help them.
So yesterday I documented how long it's been since me and my daughter has been homeless, and it's been 139 days.
As I go through her content, she keeps her makeup done, nails done, and all this stuff, but she's homeless. So I'm wondering, where are you getting all this money for to keep your makeup and hit? You know, these are wigs. These things are not cheap. And who's doing your wigs? How are you able to afford to get all of this stuff done? Lashes, all of this stuff you're getting done, and it's not cheap, but you're homeless.
Why, when it comes to my family, I got to keep asking for shit. When I was working, doing what I need to do, I was coming through for my family. I feel like as family, no, they're not obligated, but definitely in a Black family, I feel like They wait till you break to try to help you. Why do y'all do that? Why do y'all wait till somebody cry for help? Why do y'all wait till somebody get to that breaking point? Why do y'all wait till somebody is no longer here and say all these fantasies or what y'all shoulda, coulda did and this, that, and the third? But a person to be lashing out for help right under your eyes, y'all won't do shit. But y'all go outside of family and help a stranger, but y'all own family be drowning in y'all face and y'all won't do shit.
That community
Mothers,
jacked
fathers,
up.
cousins, whoever. Like, that shit is so annoying. I reached out to my mother that did not raise me, that was not shit to me, but claimed she want to be here for her grandkids. So I say, hey mom, you know how, not to mention, before I even get into story time, my mother had her own house. Let's not mention a 3-bed.
Now, let me explain something to you real quick. Here's what people don't understand. When you see people make these complaints, not all of them, this is not an absolute. When you see people making these complaints, 9 times out of 10, the majority of people that have this conversation have disrespected their way out of help. They've disrespected grandma. They've disrespected grandpa. They've disrespected uncle. They've disrespected aunties. They've disrespected so many people in their lives because of many of the times these people want help on their terms. Give me your cash, but I'll take a whole, it's like ordering out of a fast food menu. I'll take your help, but I won't take your opinion, or I won't take your solutions. Just send me money and I'm going to keep living the way I'm going to live. It ends up turning into a black hole where you're pouring your hard-earned money into a black hole, and the person becomes enabled, and they never change the poor, bad habits that put them in the circumstances that they're in. She probably got boyfriends that are derelicts, boyfriends that are degenerate. She's still mating with losers and having babies. That's people don't get the full story. I'm not saying this is her story, but 9 times out of 10, most of these people have violated people's generosity, violated their trust, disrespected people. It's like some of these single women out here you see that look good. Many of them have disrespected their way out of relationship with good men. They're just disrespectful. They want help on their terms. They don't want to do the right thing. And then they come online behaving like they're victims when they have turned their ass to the face of those that were on their team, that were down with them, that were helping them. They've disrespected them. And many of them are just straight out stolen from old people that have worked hard, that are on fixed incomes. They've extracted resources from them. And it's a shame. These are not victims, you know. This is not victims. Many of them are not victims. Many of them are predators.
It's just her and her boyfriend there, but me and my son are homeless. Clock that first. Second of all, you know I pay $69.74 for a hotel every day. We're gonna round that to $70 because that's 26 cents off the $70. Mind y'all, I'm at my sister's house right now, basically sitting here until I can come up with the rest of the money to go to the hotel. I cannot stay the night at my sister's house. My sister has a voucher. She cannot have nobody staying the night or living here. So with that being said, I reached out to my mother. Hey, Mom, can you send me $20? I don't got no fucking money, this, that, and the third. Mind you, I never asked my mother for nothing since I was like probably 18, y'all.
I know. Where's her daddy? Why is she even asking her mama for anything? Where's her father at? I know.
Currently homeless and living in my car. I've been living in my car for about 4 months, and I am back in a position where I don't even have enough money in my bank account to get gas.
Hey, okay. Hi. This is my second day outside being homeless. Yes. She's giving me the ropes. We walking to go see where we can go, what we can go do to get some help and stuff. But yeah.
All these people got their phone service and they're content creators. Are you kidding me?
We have to check out the shelter 7 o'clock every morning, be outside every day. I'm making a documentary because when God get me where he got to get me at, I'm going to be able to look back on this homelessness and everything. I never would have thought I'd been homeless in my life.
But you wearing your jewelry, you got your eyelashes done. What?
But I'm outside all day. Yes. But we going to be good. God got and us. He put her in my path. Yes. She's showing me the ropes of everything out here in the homeless life.
Wait a minute, folks. I don't mean to laugh, but you sure she ain't about to show you some other path that you gonna get into? You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to judge her friend, but I don't know too many people that lost all their teeth from eating hard candy. They were doing something else.
It's trashed. So get out of there, Oscar. You gotta get out, man. Shit plastic. She got you burning, cooking up right now. All right, fam. I'm leaving you, yo. You on your own.
Guys, I just wanted to say thank you for all the responses and kind words. It means a lot to me. More than y'all will ever know.
Yeah, man, going through it too. It's not just women.
Almost a little over a month, almost 2 months, I guess. In my car. I'm clean. It's nothing like that. It's just a mental illness that I've dealt with all my life. That
good. Glad you're clean.
Couldn't work. Couldn't barely get out of bed. I'm on some new medication that's starting to help with depression and everything. But
see, now this is the type of homeless situation I have compassion for. Somebody that's legitimately suffering from mental illness. And he's probably, from my experience, just working in the profession I've worked in, that is a small minority of the population of those people that are out there. From my experience, I'm not talking about statistics, my 22 years of working in law enforcement, that is my experience, that this is a small percentage of the population and they need help because they have legitimate mental illness that needs to be addressed. But the majority of the other ones, when I see some of these women out here, not just women, some men too, a lot of them be on that bullshit. Because even some of them look decent. I mean, they're jacked up with all the other stuff. But there's no way that if their selection process and the decisions that they've made, or they were in an environment where they had real community that didn't tolerate a lot of bullshit, which usually comes from men, that many of these decisions would be made. But they've done everything to take away the power of men over the last 60, 70 years. You see? They've done everything in their power to turn men into women. And you see that like they've done everything in their power to turn men into women. Really. It's disturbing what they've done over the years. So hold on one second. Is that the one I'm looking for? That's not it. I have so many of these clips, man. It's crazy. But I won't play that one. But anyhow, this is an example of some of the things that we deal with. I'm not even going to get into that because I was going to get into a clip in New Orleans and what has happened to some of these communities. You see all this debauchery going on. And like I said, they've chipped away from, anything that has to do with masculine leadership. And there's movement to make men, especially Black men, more feminine. All men in the West, but especially in the Black community, you know, to basically clip our balls and make us more feminine and, you know, liberal minded, you know, to erode that type of masculinity. And I think the brothers have done well over time. You know what I mean? Like you look at the statistics, a lot of these situations. That's why I like my brother Medium Man when he went over the statistics, especially with black men from the community. And despite all of the negative things that are said about men, there's a lot of brothers out here, a lot of black men especially, that are members of the middle class. The majority of black men, 56%, don't have any children. You got like a 34 to 36% marriage rate with, well, a 36% marriage rate with black men, and the other. So the majority, there's a lot of guys out here making babies with like this, like it's like maybe about 15-16% of the men in the community that are really making all these babies, because the majority of the men don't even have children. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of guys, and the statistics prove it. So there's a lot of marriageable guys. They're just not, you know, they're choosing, because with free choice comes decisions. And when you have somebody that's an emotional creature making decisions without the guidance of men, you're going to have a lot of bad outcome and bad situation. You know, and that's just the real reality of situation. I mean, even my brother Medium Man, he does this content and he really looks at the statistics, which don't lie. We look at the marriageability rate. You hear all the negative content, and you look at the statistics that exist in the community. There's quite a bit of single eligible bachelors in the black community. There's only 666,000 black men that are in prison. Look at the stat. Look at the peer research. Look at blackdemographics.com. It's just a matter of those particular, and even the TAP proved it. The TAP proved that women are mating with a certain percentage of the men, and they're not exactly the best of the group. And they're having baby after baby with the same group of men. So let me give you an example. I always like to play these statistics. So when people come with these stupid ideology that their black men are failing, there's not a lot of eligible bachelors. There's plenty of eligible bachelors on there. They're just not messing with these women.
Both ends, black men and black women. So y'all can shut up about the conversation. Black men versus black women, STEM degrees. And this is from 2012 to 2022, of course. Total STEM degrees / certificates, black men, 326,000. Black women, 199,000. That is 126,000 difference in favor of black men. Percentage of total STEM degrees, 7.5% black men across all years, and then 4.5% for black women across those years. That is a 3% difference for black men, which means that black men win that round. So in STEM degrees, if you guys have a conversation on anybody's platform, black men hold more STEM degrees than black women. Black women versus black men breakdown for student loan debt, both in total amount and average loan size. Okay, so at the top there, the category is average undergrad debt. Black women hold 41,000 undergrad debt on average. Black men 35,000 undergrad.
Now, the reason why I play these statistics is really to deal with the black men haters, the male feminists, the panda bears, the simps, and the liars that tell lies about black men. Imagine black women partnered with the government to destroy their own men. And despite many systemic things, the fact that black men are doing well in 2025, considering when they have been triple teamed for destruction, and they're still doing well. That's the crazy part. And Exactly. The thumbnail to this live stream is the reason why Gen Z equals exact Gen Zesty. Facts. So black men have been triple teamed. Black women, the system with the government, they're using the government, and the negativity that's been spread in the media. That's a triple team. But the worst is when the women sold out their own men. They got in bed with those who wanted to destroy their own men. That's the worst. Let's continue.
Grad debt. That's a $5,801 difference. Black women have more debt. Average graduate degree debt. Black women, $75,000. Black men, $61,000. That is $13,000 more than black men. Black women own more debt in the graduate degree department. Then percentage of black borrowers who are women, 66% are black women. Black men, 34%. Women are 2/3 of black borrowers. 2/3. So black women borrow more money than black men for college. Cumulative debt total, $929 billion. That's 66%. Remainder, 34%, 1.6 trillion. Women hold the majority of the debt. Okay, black women, more debt. So if women own more college debt, black women own more college debt in total as well. So in that particular category, black men lead. You see the red, that would be considered a negative. Black men versus black women student parents in college, which is very important. Percentage of college students who are parents. Black women, 40%. Black men, 21%. That is a 19% difference. Black women lead in that particular category. There are more black women who are parents in college than black men. Single parents in college. 62% of black mothers are single when they are in college. Only 39% of black men are single fathers in college. Mothers are 1.6 times more likely. Black women, that is a negative. Married parents in college, 38% of black mothers are married, as opposed to 61% of black fathers are married in college. That's important. And like I said, man, you see how these numbers shake out when you break them down? Because people like, and I hate that the black community does this, black women got more college degrees than black men. But did y'all actually ever sit down and look at all of this information that goes along with this? This is crazy, right? I know this is some new information for a lot of people. That would be considered a positive if the majority of the black fathers are married. That's a positive. So black men win in that. And then total student parents, of course, 2.7 million mothers for black women, 1.1 million fathers. Mothers equal 70% of the total. There are more black women who are parents in college. So black men win that group as well.
So I'm going to keep playing this stuff. And the reason why I'm going to keep playing that, because they make an argument that there's not enough marriageable men. They are. They are. If people choose their careers and their jobs and whatever else, there's no income gap or whatever. There's no women are just outperforming the men and there are no eligible bachelors. They're not outperforming the men. They make less. So they have more degrees, but that doesn't translate. A basket weaving degree don't make no more money. A guy with a high school GED that has a certification from a repair vehicle repair stuff is making more money than somebody with a basket weaving degree, unless it's one of those STEM degrees or something that's going to make money in finance or whatever else. None of that stuff don't translate into real world profitability. And that's what we don't talk about. Actually, what makes money out here? More degrees, yeah. And then you talk about the housing situation. I own a house because at one point in time, I was married. So when I bought a house to raise my kids. Just bought a house because I'm flexing a house. Well, I got a house. I am, I was just an adult that bought a house. A lot of women be bragging about shit that's just adult stuff. You're an adult. You're supposed to be able to pay your own bills. And owning a home is just something that some adults do to raise their family or have somewhere to live. So I own a home because I like owning a home so I can live in a home. I rent an apartment because I want to live in an apartment because I need somewhere to live. It's not something to flex about. It's just housing. It's life. Let's continue on.
Income, black men versus black women. And this is from 2024 and 2025 first quarter results. For 2024, the weekly annual income, black men, it was $1,002. Black women, $922. That is $80 more dollars per week. Black men lead. So black men, in regards to earnings, black men earn more than black women. And then 100K earners, black men versus black women. This is $926,000 for black men, $721,000 for black women. That is a $205,000 difference in people for black men in favor for black men. And then with the representation of the respective labor force, that is 6.09% of the 15.2 million of black men in the workforce. And then that is 4.26% of the 16.9 million black women in the workforce. So that is a 1.83 percentage point difference in favor of black men. So black men have more 100K earners because that seems to be a sticking point because people point to there being more black women. That is true. There are more black women in the workforce. There are more black women in our black population. However, that doesn't shake out in regards to 100K earners. Yes, there are more black women, but black men still have more 100K earners. Okay? Just the facts. I don't care about your feelings. Black men versus black women home buyers. And I did it for the single black population. Single black women, give yourselves a pat on the back. 33% are percentage of black home buyers. They are leading. Single black men, only 12% own homes. I know you got. Let me bring myself up here because I know what's next. Men don't tend to purchase homes when they don't have a family. I agree with you. However, when we're doing this breakdown, none of that shit matters. All of the excuses in regards to why black men or why single men in general don't buy homes, the black community don't care about that shit. Okay? So you just wasting your breath or you're wasting your keystrokes if you type that in the chat. I'm telling you, if you get on somebody's platform and you mention that, then black women gonna probably cuss your ass out because they take pride in that 33%, the single black women, okay? Just want to, you can do it, but I just want to put that disclaimer out there. But overall, the black community, the majority of our homeowners are married couples, okay? But black women actually represent the highest group of singles who by percentage points. So that 33% is the highest among all singles. So again, shout out to black women. Black women actually win that category. They win that group. Black men versus black women, overweight and obesity. This is important for important conversations on the dating market. Overweight or obese, black women 79.6%.
So I'm gonna kill you all those statistics. Just give you a glance. I have to put it out there on the record. Just for those people that are coming through and trying to put out negative statistics, negative propaganda, I have to use my platform to defend all of the negative information that's been put out there against Black American men. And people don't realize that it's a small percentage of the population within the community that's creating most of the havoc. And it's the poor decisions that are being made in a non-patriarchal environment where men are not in charge. What's in charge in that community? The government and women. That's what's in charge in that community. With that comes poor decision making. And again, with great freedoms of choices by women, many of them have made poor choices. And when you even see some of these guys, the majority of these guys that be talking, these black men, they either be these simps or whatever the hell, they son husband type guy. You can see how like they're really pandering to the culture. They don't have any masculinity in them. I mean, it's crazy because that's the environment. They have to say certain things to fit into the community. If you don't talk victim stuff, and you don't talk, the white man stuff, they ain't trying to even listen to you. If you're not talking about systematic racism and trauma and the black community and trauma, and if you ain't talking that shit, nobody trying to listen to you. They're not trying to listen to you. They're not trying to listen to you. Because the problem is, if you ask every individual about their personal actions and how their personal actions created the outcome in their life. See, what happens is people don't want to answer personal questions about themselves. And all of the actions and behaviors and decisions that they did in their own life to create the outcome that they see. Everybody likes to be in these collective because in a collective, you can hide your personal mediocrity. But when you make it personal, oh, okay, yeah. Well, tell me a little about yourself. And this is where you get them. Oh, okay. So what decision led you to do this? Or what decision led you to do that? And when you find out and you make it personable, 99% of the time, that person is on some goofy shit. And much of the decisions that they made must be the outcomes that they got because of the bad decisions that they've made. Or rejection of good advice. 9 times out of 10. But with that being said, I'm going to just want to do this quickly today and get out of here. Got to get out of here, guys. I want you guys to enjoy your lunchtime hour. Peace and blessings to you guys. If you want to support the channel, please make sure you do. I appreciate you guys being with me today. I'm out.